Please welcome to the show, Caitlin Clark. Caitlin, did you ever
What's
think
up,
you'd
guys?
be back?
Cheers.
Excited to be back.
Cheers.
Don't worry. I got this nice
Throwback
throwback Gatorade can.
Well played.
So Caitlin Clark just had this super raw, no-holds-barred Zoom interview with WNBA legends Sue Bird and Diana Taurasi. It wasn't your typical polished thing. It was real. It was authentic. She opened up about everything, from joining the WNBA to all that locker room chatter, even the real scoop on those intense NCAA games. And she did it all with her signature charm and humor. What's crazy is what she revealed has the whole basketball world buzzing right now. She talked about Diana Taurasi, Paige Bueckers, and even those wild, unfounded rumors Sheryl Swoopes was spreading. You ready? This all goes back to that famous warning Diana Taurasi gave Caitlin a year ago, looking straight into the camera saying, "The arrival of reality is imminent." Remember that?
What will the league have in store for them when they get there?
Look, SVP.
Oh yeah.
Reality is coming.
Okay.
There's levels to this thing, and that's just life. We all went through it.
Of course.
And you see it on the NBA side, and you're gonna see it on this side, where you look superhuman playing against 18-year-olds, but you're gonna come with some grown women that've been playing professional basketball for a long time.
Well, it goes without saying, Diana totally walked back those statements this year. And Caitlin's reaction? She just gave this confident smile, a little smirk, and a subtle nod. It was pure electric energy. Super funny and lighthearted, but you could tell it was a statement. No doubt about it.
Congrats on your retirement, D.
Thank you.
And congrats
Now-
to you.
Unfortunately,
But here's the thing. Diana Taurasi saw her time on the court with Caitlin Clark as way more than just a game. She truly felt it was about generational change. Taurasi really opened up about the atmosphere during their first game in Phoenix. She said it felt like the last game that would ever be played. The crowd was absolutely electrifying, and the excitement was just so real. It wasn't just about basketball, it felt like watching a torch being passed right there in real time. Diana even expressed how bizarre it felt to finally play against athletes she'd spent years watching dominate in college.
coming to me now.
What's your big plans?
in early.
What are you going to do?
I keep telling Sue I thought I was going to have all this time to do all these things. I'm more busy now. So if I give you any advice, play as long as possible.
We'll see. We'll get to 10 years. Then we'll think about it.
It's a 10.
Now Caitlin's game is super elegant, but it still has that distinctive edge. She also looked back at that Phoenix battle, and for her, it felt really personal. She said, with a lot of pride in her voice, they were down by about 10 or 15 points, and somehow came all the way back to win. That comeback was more than just a stat. For her and her team, it was a real turning point. Facing a legend like Taurasi and actually winning, that just totally boosts your confidence, and Caitlin definitely noticed that.
What was it like for you two to play against each other?
It was amazing. I've been following Caitlin for so long and been watching her college career just in awe. And to be on the court and, the first game was in Phoenix and it felt like the last game that was ever going to be played. There was such anticipation. The crowd was going crazy. All the people that came out to see Caitlin and our teams play against each other. It really was an amazing moment. And you talked about how, if you could play against anyone that is this new generation. So I got to cross paths with Caitlin, at least for a couple games. And to me, that meant a lot, Like, we've been doing this for a long time, and to see Caitlin do what she does is, I think someone said the other day, I'm like, I want the season to start so I can watch you again.
Plus, behind all that competitive fire, there was clearly so much mutual respect. This whole occasion just grew bigger than a single game. It was truly a clash of eras playing out right before our eyes. Even though Caitlin and Diana are at completely different stages of their careers, they're both having a timeless impact. And you could tell, as they grinned and laughed while remembering it all, this was more than just joking around. It was this amazing blend of basketball's past and its future.
It was like to play against D.
Well, I was saying, that game in Phoenix, because we only played in Phoenix one time. And it was before Olympic break. Obviously, we had All-Star there too, but it was a great game. Honestly, I'm pretty sure we were down like 10 or 15 and came all the way back and won. That was like our first like win versus a team that was above 500. So thank you. I appreciate that.
So, Caitlin Clark is heading into the upcoming WNBA season with more than just momentum. She's bringing some serious weaponry to the table. She just couldn't hide her excitement talking about her updated roster. Players like Sophie Cunningham, defensive powerhouses Sydney Colson and Brianna Turner, new head coach Stephanie White, and seasoned veterans Natasha Howard and Alana Smith. Clark knows all the names and, more importantly, what each of them will bring, but she's also super aware of the challenge ahead. With 7 new players and not much time to build chemistry, Caitlin is already in figure-it-out mode, and she's embracing every bit of it.
Caitlin, how excited are you for this next WNBA season? New head coach and Stephanie White. You added Natasha Howard, who Sue knows really well, DeWanna Bonner, which I know really well, Sophie Cunningham. I mean, it seems like, you know, from the outside, this roster's ready to compete now, which is easy for us to say. We know there's a process to get there, but like when you see that and you see those names come in, what does that make you feel like?
Listen, she's not just improving her mental game, but her physical game too. Caitlin just cracked up when she was asked about that viral off-season picture where her arms looked, well, abnormally jacked.
Oh, well, I mean, obviously on paper we have a really good team, but you know, you only have, I mean, we start training camp, I think on the 27th, and then like we have a back-to-back of preseason games on May 3rd and May 4th. So it's like, you have a very short amount of time to put that together, and 7 new pieces, and whether we carry 11 or 12, like more than half of our roster, like that's, you know, that's a hard thing within itself, but we should be pretty good. And like, I'm excited about it. I think what we needed was, you know, we added a lot more experience. Like in the playoffs, we just didn't have that. We were a young group. Even Kels, like obviously with being with the Fever during her entire career, she hasn't really had the opportunity to play in a ton of playoff games. So having that, whether it's Sydney Colson, whether it's DB, whether it's Natasha Howard, whoever it is, I think having that experience is going to be really good for us and that leadership in the locker room. So I'm excited.
And then the truth came out. She admitted she spent a ton of time in the weight room, not just to look the part, but to truly feel more powerful out on the court. She even specifically called out areas she wants to improve, like owning the mid-range shot, finishing strong through contact, and adding a floater to her arsenal. It's pretty clear she's training to take over, not just maintain.
There was the viral picture that went around showing off your guns. Everyone's wondering, have you been hitting the weight room? Was it the camera angle? What happened?
Like, how did you do that? I've been trying to do that for 20 years.
AI is getting out of control. Come on.
What's crazy is, it's really rare for someone so young in their pro career to have that kind of self-awareness. But Caitlin is already acting like a seasoned expert. She even said, "I kind of enjoy it," referring to the whole grind, all the leadership responsibilities, and intense physical prep that comes with having a roster full of stars. She knows the standards are sky high, but she's meeting them head on. Now, remember when Sheryl Swoopes famously said the Indiana Fever locker room was poisonous? And people were like, y'all don't want to be here.
What are you doing in the off-season working on your game?
You're trying to get stronger, like a lot of time in the weight room, and it's like something like I kind of enjoy, so it's been pretty easy for me to like spend time in there and really work on that part of my game. And you know, I think the biggest thing on the court is just like that mid-range area. Like I got pretty uncomfortable in there when I would get in there, whether that's like I didn't really have any floater, I didn't like taking a mid-range jump shot, so just getting more comfortable like when I get my feet kind of into the paint, and honestly trying to just add a floater to my game, and you know, finishing through contact and little things like that. But I think just going back to the weapons that we've added this year, like there's going to be so many different things that we're able to do that I think it'll be able to make my life a little bit easier, and it should make everybody's life a little bit easier on our team.
Well, Caitlin Clark finally addressed that directly.
That's not my point. There's a lot of other shit going on that players are like, this ain't where I want to be.
Over there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Some
So,
new shit
that-
some
yeah,
new
like
shit's
it's a
going on
lot.
around.
She basically confirmed what we all pretty much knew. Swoopes' statements were just not true.
So you have players that are very significant on this Indiana Fever team that are like, I don't.
And Caitlin Clark remembers every single second of her battles with UConn. She recalled facing them 3 times in the NCAA tournament, the Sweet 16, and then the Final Four. Every single time was a brutal test, and Gino Auriemma's team was always ready. She said they consistently had the absolute best scouts working against her. His intelligence was just so obvious.
The whole week was like, Indiana, they don't get along, all this. And I'm like, great. And then I'm like, this is the most together team I've ever seen.
Is that one of the hardest things for you as a pro now? Just seeing all the narratives like that one, that your team didn't get along and just having to literally ignore it, deal with it, even though you know it's not true?
What's more, it wasn't just flattery. Her comments were this mix of respect and, honestly, a little frustration. Whether it was their top defenders hammering her all over the court or their distinct defensive styles, Caitlin made it clear that UConn and Gino never, ever made things simple. He always had something unexpected up his sleeve. Every single game against Gino, she said, just turned into a total chess match.
It's something you kind of just become used to. It's like people think they know what's going on inside of your locker room, and they just don't. At the end of the day, it's just, the girls that you have in there, and then obviously your coaching staff, and that's all that matters. And honestly, the best thing about last year is we honestly had so much fun together. Yeah, we lost our first 8 games or whatever, but we wouldn't have won if we didn't have a tight-knit circle or a good locker room. And that's the reason we kind of turned everything around, is just we needed some time. We were a young group, and we figured it out. But yeah, it was really fun, honestly.
On top of that, Caitlin respects more than just the UConn program. She respects the players too. Her whole tone just shifted to pure appreciation when she was asked about Paige Bueckers. Her composure, Caitlin said right away, "You'll totally need that when you get into the..." She really praised Paige's calm, mature demeanor on the court, saying that nothing ever seems to shake her.
So when you play against a Coach Auriemma coached team, what kind of beast is that?
Well, I think they just are so disciplined. That's just, we're going to do what they do. They're going to do it really well. And also I think for myself, facing his teams, they always had some of the best scouts against me. You can tell how smart he is.
Plus, Caitlin went on to say that Paige's mid-range game is seriously one of the best she's ever seen, and that Paige can score at all 3 levels. Coming from someone who's dominated at every level, that's just massive praise. Caitlin didn't even stop there. She also brought up Paige's adaptability, how she can play both off the ball or as a true point guard. Seeing her next to Caitlin, that's definitely going to be interesting.
He's the game. He's coached against so many really good players, and there were games I would go into, and the scouts were just it was just come on, why are you going under ball screens? Why are you in drop coverage? But he just made it difficult. He would throw different defenders at me, and obviously having Nika Mule last year, she's probably one of the better defenders that I've faced. She's just up in your grill. She'll pick you up 94 feet. But then he just always has an answer, has different people. And I think that's one of the best things about him. He has one game plan, but then he has something in his back pocket that he can go to. Yeah. And that's going to bother you again.
When you watch Paige play and you see her in the next level, what are the things that obviously she's going to take to the WNBA and it's going to translate instantly? And what are the things that, it takes you a couple games to get used to?
I think her poise, that's something you need coming into the W. It all hits you so fast. Is you're moving to a new city, you're trying to understand new teammates, you have a new coach, while you're trying to live up to all these expectations. And I think that's one of the greatest things about her game is just her poise and her maturity, and nothing ever seems to faze her.